Okay, so here's my Obsidian. What I'm going to do is just get this Obsidian Vault to be a repo and syncing to GitHub. And then from GitHub, I can sync it to my phone and I can sync it to other computers like my work computer and other laptops I have. So the idea is pretty simple, but the setup can be kind of confusing. It took me a while to understand how to do it, but using ChatGPT kind of helps. So I'm just going to kind of walk through the process that I went through, and maybe this will help you out. So first, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a GitHub repo for this here. So let's just open up a terminal. I'm in Linux, by the way. I have a Ubuntu Linux, and I'm just going to navigate to my vault. It's called Sig Vault. Okay, so you can see the terminal I'm using will show like a Git repository if it's active, but there's nothing in here. So I have to actually make this a Git repository. And something you're going to need if you're going to initialize a Git is to actually have a Git installed on your computer here. So you would just go sudo update like this, put in your sudo password so that you're updated and you've got the latest. And then here I'm going to install Git. Okay. And Git is installed. So now we can actually check the version on there. Okay. So to get something on GitHub, you actually have to create a repository on GitHub, so like a receiving repository. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Chrome, okay, and I'm going to go into GitHub. Okay, so now that I'm here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a new repository. I'm going to call it SigVault, and we're going to give a description like my Obsidian Vault. There you go. And then I'm going to make it private because I want it private. I don't want the public seeing it. And then add a README. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to create the repository. So it creates an empty repository on GitHub. So there it is. So now what I got to do is make the remotes for this Git repository, but it won't work without authorization first. So what I have to do is if you actually go into here and you go to SSH, I like using SSH authentication. I find that it doesn't expire. So it's more reliable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go new SSH key, and what I need here is the public key. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here to create the SSH key is SSH key gen T ed25519. That's the encryption method. This is the comment. I just put GitHub in there, and then the file I put underscore GitHub on it because I want to know what it is because I have like several SSH keys. So I'm going to press enter, generate public, enter passphrase. I don't want a passphrase. So I'm just going to press enter. And the reason I don't want a passphrase is I just don't want to enter my password every time I connect to GitHub. Okay, so now that should be in CD SSH. Wait, SSH. Okay, so it should be GitHub. Where's GitHub? Do I see it? I don't see it. Oh, here it is. There it is. Okay, so that should work. So now the public, I should be able to just like look at the public key by typing cat ID 2559 and GitHub. Okay, so that's the public key. So I can copy this now, and then I'm going to take that over here and just paste it into here. And then I'm going to call this, actually, I'm just going to call this, Dell. I'll just call it the Dell, home Dell. Yeah, there. That way I know it's coming from the Dell laptop at my house. So I'm going to add that. Okay, so there it is. So now I have an authentication method with GitHub. Okay, oh yeah, I got to set up the remote. I have to set up the remote. So let's go to CD. I'm just going to go back to my vault. Okay. So you're going to need the actual, basically it's a connection string, but it's the origin from GitHub. So I'm going to go back to, let's go into my repository I created, which is SigVault. Okay. And then here, SSH, and then you just copy this thing right here. Okay, so now I copy that, and then I'm going to need that. So I'm going to set the origin to git remote add origin, and then I'm going to paste that in. Okay, and that should work. Okay, and then git, so we can check it, git remote -v. Okay, there's my origin, fetch and push. Okay, and then add and commit your files. So I can go add. I think I've already did this. Oops, git add. and then git commit. I'm just going to say push to GitHub. Okay, on branch master, nothing to commit. Work tree clean. Okay, so my work tree is already clean because I already did this. That's fine. And then I'm going to push it. So git branch. Now I'm on master, and I believe GitHub's on main, but I don't think that's a problem. So you get branch -m main. Oh, okay, it sets it to main. Okay, that's fine, because I believe it's set to main here. Okay, and then we're gonna go git push -u origin main. Okay, and now it's gonna push it to GitHub. Okay, total. Okay, that's good. It should be here now. So let's go to Sig Vault again. Okay, I don't have a README, that's fine, but I'm seeing that it did push here, and you can see here's my untitled MD. Good. And if I were to click on this, there's nothing in here, right? So, okay, so that's done. So now we have to set up the syncing. So you can do this in several ways. I mean, you could always just like do a manual push every time you make a change in Obsidian, which is annoying. So what we're going to do is automate it with a plugin. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go into plugins. Yeah, here, community plugins. Where is it? Then community plugins, browse and go Git. Okay, get the Git. We'll install this and we'll enable it. Okay, and then okay, it's enabled. There is options, and what I like about this option here is you can commit every like 1 or however many minutes. I just set to 1. And then another thing that a lot of people like doing here is you pull on startup. So it takes it right from the GitHub repo upon startup. Commit message on auto commit and sync. This is I like setting here. I like using the date, and then just I'll just go vault update. There you go. That will be the commit message with a date stamp. Okay, yeah, so that should work. So now it should sync every minute. So you can actually see it's actually working right now. Committed one file. Okay, so I'll close this. So now if I change this file a little bit, let's just say, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, hello. Okay, that will take a minute to sync. But I think there is a way to do this where you go, Control P, and then you go into like view source control. There we go. So the source control actually shows you what's going on here, and you can just commit and sync right here. Okay, push one file to remote. Okay, so that's like a manual push. I think you could also do this if you wanted to. You could just go get push, or just type it, and then that will do a push as well. But there's no commits to push right now, right? If I go hello, then I go Control P and push. No commits to push. What? Oh, I have to do a commit first. So it's a lot easier just to do it this way because it commits and pushes. Let's take a look at here now. Let's go into, just get a little overview here. We go to United. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hello. So now it is communicating with GitHub, and that is pretty much set up here for the Obsidian desktop side. So that's just gonna continue to run. So next is actually getting the GitHub to communicate with my phone. I have an Android phone, so I'll show you how I do that. All right, so on my phone here, what I'm going to install is, it's called, let's go Play Store. Found this one's pretty good. Okay, so we're going to search for GIT. This one right here, GitSync. This is really good. It's free to use. There are some paid options, but I don't think you need it for the sync. So it worked for me before, so I'm going to install this. And it does the syncing for you. So I'm going to open this. Oh, actually, before I do this, one thing I remembered here, before you actually start working with GitSync, you have to add some stuff to the getignore, because otherwise it's going to sync over the plugins. Because Obsidian, I installed that plugin, and then the actual vault gets a file in it here. So here, I'll show you what I mean. So if you go into your LSLA, everything in here, there's an Obsidian, a .obsidian, right? So if I go to cd Obsidian, there is a plugins folder in here, and that's going to contain the plugin with my other Obsidians installed. So on my phone, I don't want it to use the plugins. I don't want to use like certain settings and styles. So I'm going to have to do a getignore here. So let's go back to the top of the vault here. Getignore. Did I get that right? I always make spelling mistakes. Okay. Obsidian. Oh, so Obsidian plugins is actually in here. That's great. That's good. So actually this is good. And important step. If your Git's already tracking those files, get ignore won't remove them automatically. So you actually have to run this. So I'll just show you how I run it. Just pop that in there. And that just ensures that they are removed from the repo. Okay, good. Everything's clean. Okay, so good. So now we can actually open the phone again. So this is my phone. Open it. Okay, so I installed GitSync. And so now on GitSync, I'm going to open it and you just run through this process here. Next, premium features, skip. Then you have to enable file access on your phone. Okay, go back there. Okay, well, we're going to authenticate with GitHub all repos. And then I'm going to choose I got to authenticate here. So it looks like it uses OAuth authentication. I'm going to use SigVault. I'm going to do a direct clone and I'm going to select, and then I'm going to choose a location to put this in. So I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call it SigVault. Okay, I'm going to use that folder and then it's going to pull down the entire repo into that folder. Just give it its, okay. So now we got to configure this app sync settings. So this is why we didn't need the plugin, the GitHub plugin for Obsidian on the phone, because this does it all. So I'm going to tap the configure, go OK, and then accessibility. I believe I got to set this to, where is it? GitSync. There we go. Turn this on. Oops, turn this on. Allow. Got it. And we'll turn this on. Okay, so that's turned on. And tap to configure. So we're going to sync apps on opens. So we're going to have to select the app to do this on, and that's going to be Obsidian. But I don't have Obsidian installed yet. Dang it. I should have, let's do that. Let's install Obsidian Play Store. Let's install Play Store. Go to Play Store, go to Obsidian. Okay, let's install it because it needs to know which app. Okay, so I'm going to actually use existing vault. It's on this device. I'm going to choose the folder, allow, go like this, allow to use files, good. Then I'm going to go into my SigVault here. I use this folder and allow. Okay, and now it's indexing the vault. So it looks like it should be working now. So you can see here's my untitled. Now let's go back to, where was it? Yeah, here it is, still open. So we have to actually, the sync on app open and app close. So Obsidian is just going to act like a trigger to sync the repo, to do pulls and pushes. So I'm going to select the app and I'm going to choose Obsidian, okay? And just go save. And then sync on app close, sync on app open. Okay, done. Okay, so it's just kind of bringing you through how this interface works. But essentially, it's pretty intuitive. So it shows you all the commits here. So now let's try. I'm gonna close this. Dear Lord, why won't you go away? Okay, whatever, dude. Stay. What I want to do here is I'm going to now put in another line here and just say installed on my phone. Okay. And enter. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use the Obsidian app, and that should have triggered a sync, or not a sync, but rather a push to GitHub. And so if I go to GitHub now and I reload this, there it is, installed on my phone. Good. And then if I open Obsidian, it should pull once it opens, and then this installed my phone. So there it is. So now my desktop is pushing to GitHub and pulling upon opening, and then likewise my phone is doing the same thing. So that's how you can get sync working for free using GitHub. Let's try changing the title. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick manual push here. Let's see what it looks like here. Oh, it doesn't show that anymore, but here it is, because I actually changed the file name as well. Good. And then on my phone, if I go to Obsidian, yeah, it's gone. That's good. And then here, there it is. Perfect.